Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions 4 p.m. on a Monday afternoon. I'm in for Isabella Hamilton this week. She'll be back here next Monday. Today I have Tamara in with me. This is her first podcast, so she's making her debut. Tamara, do you want to give the audience a bit of background on yourself, please?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Tamara Popovic, and I first started learning about PPC 5.5 years ago. And I was lucky enough to get a proper training in one of the largest Nordic tech companies.
Yes.
I was actually trained by people that are well known in the industry today. Yes, thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure being here.
You're more than welcome. Do you want to let people know what we're talking about today? It's going to be Amazon attribution and
Yes.
we're in relation to Google Ads. Do you want to set the play for us?
Yes, absolutely. So my two biggest passions are Amazon and Google Ads. So when I first started learning about merging those together, when creating some or driving some external traffic to Amazon listings, I was more than happy to share that because up until now you weren't able to see all the measurements on a keyword level, which would be really important if you want to optimize and scale your Google Ads account. So by having a different strategy set up, I think that we can definitely circumvent the system, which is really exciting.
Cool. So let's just go into the overview now. So before the off call, we're talking about the benefits of driving external traffic. We know that Amazon enjoys those signals. We don't have enough data really as a community, and like everyone will go, yeah, we drive external traffic, right? But the attribution part, which we'll get into in a minute, is quite difficult. We all know that a good signal coming from third-party traffic is really helpful. People get very much different results from one another. I know that when I speak to Frasio, they talk about an overflow effect. Even when they're sending traffic to their own websites, then they bounce onto Amazon. They call it an overflow effect, but they're driving like a very high level with a lot of spend. So one of the biggest issues that you face when you're tying in the attribution part, so we just talk about the at keyword level, the tracking.
Yes, so it's not as much as technical issue because you can actually, by setting up a different strategy, you can actually overcome these issues. So when I first started creating those external traffic campaigns, it was really hard merging the data from two different platforms and just seeing the performance and measurements on a keyword level, because that's the way you actually need to have visibility in order to optimize. And once I started diving deeper, I actually saw a way to actually have those merged.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get into that in a moment. So let's just quickly talk about the way you set up. Like from my understanding, there's two levels that you can set up. There's the ad level setup and the keyword level setup in Google Ads. Do you want to talk me through that?
Yes. So depending on your expectations, you can actually have different setups. So for these purposes, I would prefer a keyword level setup because I don't necessarily need to change all the ads, pause them, and make some new adjustments, re-enabling them again. My approach would be that once you create your order inside the Amazon attribution platform, you will need to create different line items that reflect the actual keyword inside Google Ads account. So, and there are some guidelines that can help you do that. So, a couple of tips from the Google side when creating your campaign for external traffic, you definitely want to exclude showing your ads to display network, because it can actually hurt your click-through rate performance, and it can actually reflect the quality score. So there are a couple of setup issues, but once you overcome those, you can see some great performance on your keywords.
And that's one of the things is with Google Ads, and it's been like it for years. It's already pre-selected for the display network, and it's kind of idiot tax, if you like. You know, you've always got to make sure when you set up any of those campaigns to disable display network, because 9 times out of 10, if you're doing a search campaign, why would you have the display network as well? Because you'd have them as separate campaigns and you'd harness them differently, right? But that's how Google makes that extra money out of newer kind of sellers on the platform. So before you know it, you've blown a few $100s, and then you realize it's down to the display network, and you don't make them mistakes over and over again. You also do manual enhanced CPC, so you control in the bidding as well, right?
Yes, this is actually my preferred option when starting the campaigns, because you do want to have that control over your bids. So I would always choose manual enhanced bidding setup, and I would also choose to target only people within your targeted location. So if you, for instance, you would, in that sense, you would prevent people from other places that are searching for your product in US, let's say it like that, you would prevent some of those traffic. So you can actually invest smartly by setting up your campaign. Correct.
Sounds good. Let's talk about the ad groups. Let's talk about on that level and how you're separating keywords, and talk through some of the elements that you focus on in terms of keyword dynamic insertion and things like that.
Yes. So I always like to keep things simple and granular in some way. So I would always prefer to have ad groups split by keyword. So with some recent changes that Google introduced on the match type, I actually modified the strategy slightly to reflect that. So I would prefer to have an exact and a phrase match within the same ad group, just so I can influence the quality score the mostly. And I will explain that shortly. So being able to create ads for a single keyword actually gives you that control. So my suggestion is that you should probably create 3 to 5 expanded text ads, and then an additional responsive search ads, because that's some additional traffic that Google likes. And when creating those, you can also use some of the features that are available there. For instance, I love to use keyword insertion, and it's a formula within the headline one that can actually help you being the most relevant in front of potential shoppers.
So correct me if I'm wrong. With keyword dynamic insertion, the way that it works is the end user's typing into the search engine, and if it's closely related and relative, and it's the character cap is around the right length. I need to correct me because I haven't done it for a while. It just means is that when someone searches for, I don't know, PPC agency London, if they've got PPC agency and there's still room to put London in there, when they search, that comes up in the search results, you would appear, and the dynamically inserted word was London, and then that will bold as well for the end user. So it's effectively is tailoring associated ads to the main keyword, effectively like on a broad match.
Yes, and that's actually the reason behind it, because we were using both exact and phrase options. So by including keyword insertion, you would actually cover those searches as well.
And also it is also worth to bear in mind as well with dynamic keyword insertion. Do a search on Google for it. There can be really bad things happen as well, can't there? So the wrong text ends up in these ads, and there's a load of faux pas around the internet. There's like memes on it in the PPC community on that side. So it's definitely worth having to think about what the wording is used and how it correlates with other words as well, and just do some checks on that. So let's talk about the creating the line items and setting up the order attribution.
Yes, so creating an order is fairly simple, and it's really intuitive. So the first thing that you need to do is to add all the ASINs that you would like to have advertised, and I highly recommend to keep it at one ASIN per order, just for the measurement purposes. And you can also face some issues. So if you see that your ASIN is not there, you just need to contact their support team, and it should fairly easy be synced. So once you do that, you can move to creating line items, and here lies the complex part, because you would need to have one line item for all the ads, but then you would need to have one line item per keyword, meaning that you would need to match those tags created on a keyword level in Google Ads, and that's what's solving the issue with measurement.
Yeah, and let's quickly talk about. You sent me some screen grabs, which is really interesting, is the click-through rate. So because you're obviously dialing in, we'll get into the quality score in a moment. You can explain a bit more about that. But the document I got here that you sent over to give me some examples that you've been working with is like, you've got click-through rates of like 20%, 30%, 17.39, 26.13. Now, obviously there's low impression share because it's very targeted to keywords, but what's very good about it as well is that when you get in the quality score column, every keyword that you're doing is 10 out of 10, which, let's talk about quality score and the important role that has within Google Ads as well.
Yes, absolutely. So I was really happy to see that quality score on all of my keywords was 10 out of 10, which is actually the best we can do for a campaign. And it would mean that Google sees our ads as completely relevant. Expected click-through rate is on a great level, and the actual landing page experience is also amazing. So they are actually scoring us 10 out of 10, and meaning that our average CPC won't be as high as our max CPC values. So if you take a look at those, you can actually see that we are actually paying 0.83 or 0.30 per click, whereas we are actually bidding $4 or even higher per keyword.
Yeah, Joe's got on to say, great advice. Google and Bing both offer more option and make it easier to reach a much larger audience. Those are fantastic results. Yeah, I mean, let me just, can I show this as a screen grab? Is that all right with you? Let me see if I can share my screen, because I think it'd be good to quickly talk about this as well, and for the benefit of the playback on the podcast as well. Share screen, window, Chrome, entire screen. Let me see if I can just bring up this entire screen here. 1 second. Let me see if that works. Right, so share screen. So I just want to make sure there's nothing on my desktop that is related to clients or anything that has under GDPR. So I'm just hiding stuff, so bear with me.
Yeah.
Okay, share screen. Now I'm going to share to my desktop, and then let's bring up the, where is it? All right, can you see that? Is it showing the full screen? No. Right, okay, let's go back to that. Just want to make sure what you're seeing is adding attribution tags at the top. Can you see that, Tamara? Because I can't see my screen at the moment.
Yes, I can see it. So
Okay.
you can actually see the final URL on the keyword level, and you
Yeah.
can actually. So I actually hit some of the information, but you can actually see the metrics, which is really cool. So you can see average CPC. You can see click-through rates, which is insanely high for the client. You can also see search impression share. I would also highlight that because in most cases we are covering almost absolute top impression share, which is really great to consider because in these cases you are actually facing almost no competitiveness for those searches. So that's one of the huge advantages when driving external traffic to your Amazon listings.
Yeah, so I'll come back in and turn off the stop sharing the screen. So effectively, if we were to walk through that, you've got the search volume isn't massive, right? So it's done over a period of time. The search volume isn't massive for those keywords, but they are super relevant, which gives you a quality score of 10. 7 and 8s are quite good. 10 is phenomenal. So if they're all set to 10, that means your cost per click becomes lower because it's based on your click-through rate, which is super, super high because of the relevancy. And obviously, you look at your cost per click, it's less than $1 per click. So the advantage of driving that external traffic is relatively cheap, not cheap like 3 cents a click or whatever, but even at 86 cents a click, when you look at what it costs to drive PPC, it might be cost $5 a click on platform for good top of search, yeah? But filling those gaps on external traffic and sending those signals, that could be a good way of doing things. And with the attribution, let's talk about how you marry Google Ads data and the attribution data together.
Yes, so that's also really cool because Google provides you some of the information like click-through rates or quality scores, search impression share, absolute top impression share. But then again, when it comes to sales, conversions, and some other metrics that are relevant for your business, like add to carts, that is provided on the Amazon attribution side. So by having having two reports merged, you can actually see them in pivot tables. You can actually see them aligned at the keyword level.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool feature which we didn't have control over up until now.
Yeah. So the conclusion here, it says Amazon attribution platform is far from perfect. The number of clicks on Google Ads won't always match click-throughs in Amazon attribution. It's the same with on platform as well. Ellis and I will do a show, should be next week. I just been trying compiling all the data because we want to show people how session percentages are not always, reliable, but we want to use some sources to give examples for people to check for themselves because they get a wrong impression of their actual conversion rates. But this is the same here, even as an attribution channel, these don't always marry up, right?
Yes, well, there are still some shortages that need to be overcome, but I think that the way that Amazon wanted to help advertisers and just create a platform where you would be able to measure some results is actually amazing. So my thought is actually that if you are among the first one to test this out and build a strategy around it, then once everything is aligned, you really have an upper hand.
Indeed. Joe says, love those numbers, laser targeted. This is how to do it right. I'd hire her. Very sharp and knowledgeable. Great info. Yes, Joe. That there could be some stuff afoot, so we'll just leave that one there. But yeah, she's very bright. I really love what she's doing, and I'm going to speak to Ellis as well. But she's already got a job, so I can't really steal her from another firm. But we are looking for an account manager. So, but yes. On conclusion here, what should we wrap on? What was some of the key things? Like what we were saying before, you don't have the attribution on the keyword level. So if a sale comes through Google ads, we've not got the keyword level that measures off in attribution, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes, normally that's the case.
Yeah.
So you would actually see in the Amazon attribution platform, you would actually see a sale coming to the actual attribution tag. So by naming the tag, by replicating the actual keyword as the tag name, you will be able to have that data merged with your Google Ads report. So I think there lies the value with just circumventing the system into working for you.
Okay, so the way that, so I understand it, because I don't personally use attribution, so you have to bear with me here. The way your workaround for it, because they won't just give up that information, i.e. keyword A from Google, it shows an attribution for an Amazon sale, right? That's the bit that is struggling bit. But what you're doing is the way that you tag in attribution is the way that you realize which keyword has the sale on, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay, so that is the workaround to tag them together. That's good. Cool. Is there anything you would like to add before we go?
Well, I would like to encourage all the people that need to test this to just do it slowly and then gradually increase the traffic along the way. So unless you need to pay Google ton of money on your cost per click, I would suggest to start slowly and then scale as you as the time goes by, actually.
Excellent. Cool. Well, look, thank you for joining us today. If people want to reach out to you, what's the best way they can contact you?
I can share my LinkedIn profile, my email address, or something else. So yes, if people want to reach out to me, the easier way would be to send an email on georgiatamara@gmail.com. I will share it in comment as well. So yes, I guess that's it. And thank you for a great session today.
You're more than welcome. So guys, you'll be seeing a lot more of Tamara over the next few months, including the upcoming Branded by Women and a few other projects I've got rolling in the background. So thank you for joining us today. And that was your debut podcast. You haven't done this before, but really good, really happy with it. I'm sure, like with the feedback in the comments here, people are enjoying what you do as well. Guys, I'll be back here at 4 p.m. for my usual show tomorrow. Again, covering for Isabella today. She'll be back next Monday. Tomorrow's show, in the morning, I'm going to be interviewing someone from seller support off record. So I'll interview them in the morning, write up all my notes. They won't go on camera or anything. And then tomorrow, I'm going to give you an insider's rundown on how it operates in seller support. So yeah, tune in for tomorrow. You'll see the information go out on the thumbnail afterwards. Take care of yourself and your family. Much love, and I'll see you tomorrow.